Was this week's movie for real? We have a naive young entrepreneur who goes up against a bad guy in the big corporate world who really hams it up. And of course there were some cute puppies and dogs that were fun to watch too. There's a lot more to unpack with this one, so let's dive right in and talk about it. Hi, I'm Stephanie and welcome to the Magical Movie Club, where like you, I love to watch and chat about Hallmark movies. This week we watched Everything Puppies, which premiered on Hallmark Channel on May 18th. This week's movie stars Pascal Lamothe-Kipnis and Stephen Huzzer. I think I said that right. I have never seen Pascal Lamothe-Kipnis before, and that's because I only know of one other movie she's done for Hallmark, and I intentionally skipped Never Been Kissed last year because the reviews were just so bad. Now, Stephen Huzzer, on the other hand, had a small role near the end of Chesapeake Shores. He didn't make a huge impression on me one way or the other in that series, so I looked him up and realized he's made a lot of Christmas movies for Hallmark, including Time for Us to Come Home for Christmas with Lacey Chabert. That was one of the better ones. So, after showing us lots of cute puppies and dogs playing around in the intro, the story opens with Scarlett, played by Pascal Lamothe-Kipnis, working away in her kitchen. It turns out this is her work kitchen. She's baking something in the oven, but they also show us some sketches of other dog-related items with measurements and specs, like this doghouse, for example. Oh, and did you notice the age of that stove? That looks like it came right out of the 70s. I kind of like it. It's still going. At the end of the day, we see her pulling into a driveway of a house where there is a sign in front that reads Picket Fence Puppies. Inside, she greets her dad in the kitchen, who's sitting near a beautiful and pregnant dog, Maggie, who's resting comfortably off to the side in her little dog bed. When Scarlett reaches down to pet her, she points out that she only has a couple more weeks to go.
How are you doing, my sweet pregnant girl?
Also in the room is a litter of puppies playing around with some toys that apparently are some of Scarlett's other creations, like this light-up ball. Clearly, she's an inventor of dog toys, and as we're about to find out, dog treats.
What I have here is true alchemy.
The puppies love them, and Scarlett's dad tells her she should really try to get these into stores. And that sets up the premise of this movie.
Look, they love them.
Next, we see her entering a really cute boutique and pet cafe. It's called Chew That. Her good friend Gina, played by Catherine Davis, is the owner, and Scarlett's all excited to tell her about these new treats.
I cracked the code.
Now, based on Gina's reaction, it's obvious she's tried to sell some other products before and it hasn't gone well.
You remember our last pitch, right?
I will give kudos to Scarlett for her persistence. Something that surprised me is that Gina owns her own store and she has still tried to help Scarlett pitch her products with her competitors. Now that's a good friend right there.
Who carries him now?
And she does it again here too with the new dog treats. Although something else that I started to notice was that Scarlett, in my opinion, tends to make hasty decisions. For example, she's only made one batch of this new treat and tested it on one litter of puppies and one dog, and just like that, she's ready to go all out and try to market them to all the big companies.
Bella loves them.
Have you ever seen Shark Tank? Very rarely does that ever work. I'm just saying that I wouldn't want to market something like this without some more thorough testing, like in Gina's shop for a while. I mean, we know Gina will carry it. And I just don't like unexpected surprises. Like later on, for example, when they take Maggie to the vet because she doesn't appear to be feeling well.
I'm going to do a sonogram so we can get a closer look.
My first thought was, oh no, is she having a bad reaction to the dog treats? It turns out no, she wasn't, but that's just me. Anyway, that's not how Scarlett operates. She hasn't even thought of a name or a logo for these yet, and she's going all out on that one batch.
And I need a catchy name and a logo.
Well, clearly, some time does pass, because in the next scene, Gina unveils the new packaging with the brand name to us, the viewer, as well as to Scarlett.
Pup's palette, it's perfect.
Kind of surprised she went ahead ordering these without Scarlett even knowing what the name was yet. But I guess they needed to show Scarlett's surprise and amazement right along with us here. Okay, they spend one full day making pitches to 6 different pet supply and grocery stores, and they all turn her down.
No, not gonna happen.
Apparently the big pet food company that they all sell is called Pup Chuck. They're the only game in town, and boy, if that's not a disgusting sounding name. The next day they make one more pitch to a newer chain called Paws and Wellness. They're looking to expand nationwide. Now this next scene almost made me turn it off.
I'll have him eating puppy treats out of the palm of my hand.
I've said it before, but I'm just over Hallmark putting scenes like this in so many of their movies now. I mean, it's so obvious she intentionally swung her purse up and around to slam it right into that birdseed, but I stuck with it anyway. Here she meets Alex, played by Stephen Huzzer. They go back to his office to discuss the product, and it was here where I was surprised by her untested claims and outright lie to his direct question about extensive testing.
These have been test marketed?
Absolutely. Extensively.
I was even more surprised when she turned around and contradicted herself in the next sentence.
But you don't have room in your store for an untested product.
But luckily for her, he agrees to take some home and test them out with his own dog, Mosey. Next, we're at the Pup Chuck corporate office where we meet the evil corporate bad guy, Paul, played by Darren Baker. I thought he did a wonderful job with his character. All he cares about is profit. Profit, profit, profit.
We need to do something to boost this profit margin.
He really hammed it up with this one, and I actually found it humorous.
Our priority here is what?
Fattening the profit margin.
Come to think of it, Scarlett's character was hammed up just a little bit, but in the opposite direction. Like,
You wait right here. I'm not done with your spa treatment.
I'll point out some others as we get to them. That's when she got the call from Alex wanting to order 100 boxes. Great! As she and Gina are hurrying to make them, of course they start dreaming of growing and expanding very quickly. Nothing wrong with dreaming big. And like every Hallmark best friend, Gina has to talk about Scarlett's bad history with love, her poor judgment in men, and tell her how much chemistry she felt between Scarlett and Alex.
Ties were like 4th of July fireworks.
That was a little forced for me, but expected nonetheless. This next scene, I think, was meant to be a chance for Scarlett and Alex to bond a little bit. And I'm not entirely sure why, but I found it a bit awkward. Maybe it was Scarlett's bragging, or the dialogue, or the way they bounced back and forth between talking business and then flirting. I don't know. It just didn't feel natural.
You're looking at the Illinois state record holder for the longest ride ever.
I don't know. It just didn't feel natural. I mean, Alex came right out and told her he was interested in her.
Genuinely interested in you.
But she seemed more giddy over the fact that he's helping her grow her business.
And ask her if she'll hear your pitch.
Yeah, I would really appreciate that, Alex.
She never once showed an interest in wanting to get to know him. But let's continue. After coffee, they went to a rock climbing gym, where I think they bonded a little bit more, and Scarlett began to trust Alex.
Trust me, Scarlett. I got you.
They also talk about work-life balance, which is something that comes up a few times. Now, after the rock climbing, we're introduced to yet another character, Michelle.
What brings you up to corporate, aside from wanting to see me?
She's the regional manager of Paws and Wellness. Alex showed up to meet with her to try to convince her to listen to Scarlett's pitch to sell the dog treats in more of their stores. And that's when we find out that she used to date Alex.
You've been very distant lately.
And Michelle hasn't given up hope on their relationship yet. Now, the first time I heard this awful dialogue,
I think it's pretty clear that I'm not ready to move on, and
my initial instinct was, who says these things? But stick with me here because I was very close to making my own discovery here. Speaking of who says these things, Scarlett and Alex ran into each other later on at a dog park, and Scarlett made a point to tell him, unsolicited by the way, that not only did she design this dog park, she has all these other amazing accomplishments and all these other plans for which she just went on and on about. Her character is just too self-absorbed for my liking.
Actually designed this dog park.
And again, what's with this dialogue? But that's when I figured out this movie cannot possibly take itself seriously. And once I stopped trying to take it seriously, I gained a whole new perspective. I mean, come on, confidence is one thing, but this was so over the top. It has to be a spoof.
I also invented 27 new dog toys and accessories. Have patents on 6, the rest patent pending.
A spoof of typical Hallmark rom-coms, complete with cute puppies and all.
But the poggles might need a little work.
Maybe it's not over the top like Haul Out the Holly with Lacey Chabert. Now that movie was fun because it was obvious they had a blast making fun of Hallmark Christmas movies. And while the humor in Everything Puppies was a little more subtle than that, they're not in your face about it, it's still definitely a spoof. Well, at least that's how I see it through my glasses. And that's how I finally enjoyed it a little bit. Now, back to Scarlett and Alex. They went on a date with their dogs to a classic movie screening in the park. It was actually pretty cute until...
What are you doing?
I wanted to wring her neck when she picked up her phone in the middle of her conversation with Alex. This after Gina had specifically told her how romantic her first date with her husband had been when he didn't look at his phone even once during their date. And they even showed us how Alex intentionally ignored a call for the very same reason when they had met for coffee earlier.
They can wait.
I wanted to yell at her, "Show him the same respect, please." And somehow Alex spun it into a lesson on work-life balance. But clearly she is not interested in him at all, which is a little contradictory in the next scene. When she and Gina are meeting with Michelle, they're pitching their product to her, and at the end Gina says, "Oh, we love Alex." And Scarlett says,
We love Alex.
Yeah, I do.
and it becomes a really awkward situation when they leave.
Bye.
But before that happens, Michelle said she would agree to place the dog treats in a third of their stores with the possibility of expanding them to more if they do well. There was no mention of a contract at this point, but after the meeting, Scarlett orders a bunch of new equipment and even hires additional staff to keep up with this new demand.
Just getting all the new equipment can't tell you how excited I am.
I'm actually not going to spend much more time talking about Scarlett and Alex's romance because she was all over the map, giving him so many mixed signals. Like when he gave her a chef's hat and she asked, "How do I look?"
You look great. I mean official.
Only then did she say, "Thank you." That was awkward. And in the very same scene, she asked him out to dinner to celebrate herself. I mean her business. And she got all bent out of shape when he couldn't go because he was having dinner with Michelle. Watching Scarlett was exhausting. And poor Alex, he's surrounded by women who only want to talk about themselves and what they love and how great they are.
I recently did a vineyard tour in Napa. It was fabulous.
Not one of them actually seems to care about Alex and who he is or what he likes.
I guess I haven't matured to wine tasting quite yet.
You'll get there.
I felt kind of sorry for him. Now, at this point, we were about halfway through the movie, and this is where Paul's character really comes into play. When he finds out that his Pup Chuck brand is losing a bit of shelf space in the stores, he does not take it very well.
But I want what we have now.
And again, it's actually quite funny if you don't take him seriously.
It's a food for dogs, it sells well. I really don't care what's in it.
He threatens to sick his corporate attorneys on Pup's palate and even get the FDA involved in a lengthy, expensive investigation. So Michelle caves and pulls Scarlett's dog treats off the shelves. When Michelle breaks the news to Alex, this is where we find out that there was a stipulation in the agreement that allowed her to cancel the contract within 72 hours. So remember when I said Scarlett was naive? She jumped the gun and got herself into a financial mess. So after Michelle called Scarlett directly to break the news to her, what does Scarlett do? She storms into Alex's store and proceeds to blame Alex.
I can't believe this, Alex. I trusted you.
I mean, this is so bad, it's hilarious. And of course, no matter how bad things get in a Hallmark movie, you can always make it better with puppies. I can't make this stuff up. So it gets even worse when Scarlett takes some of Gina's bad advice and they park a table in front of Paws and Wellness to sell her dog treats to their customers before they can go into the store. Do you think they got permission to be there?
You need permission from corporate, and that I know you don't have.
No, of course not. She also didn't think about the awful position that she just put Alex in because he knew that if he allowed this to continue, he could lose his job.
I'll get out of your way.
Yeah, you do that.
So while I don't blame him one bit for notifying Michelle about this little setup, Scarlett sure did. He said he was recording this little taste test they did to show Michelle why he thought they should put her dog treats back on the shelves. You know, I actually liked this little taste test scene. It was really cute. I just think she needed to do all this before she tried to market them to all these stores. And of course, Scarlett doesn't believe anything Alex has to say anymore because he's the one who sent the video to Michelle, who in turn made him send it to the board. I just can't figure out why Paul, the evil bad guy from Pup Chuck, was notified as well.
Can't just let people do whatever they want, otherwise we'd have anarchy.
So, Paul and Michelle show up, and not only do they make her leave the premises, but they got her fined for pulling this little stunt. A little extreme for sure, but of course this is all Alex's fault again.
I know you're the one who got our booth shut down.
Nope, I still can't make this stuff up. I mean, come on, do you think back when I was selling my own candles, would Yankee Candle or Bath & Body Works have let me show up unannounced and park a table in front of their stores to steal their customers and sell them my candles instead? Next we see this.
Wish you had let me know you were coming by.
You mean like you told Alex you were planning to show up in front of his store? Well, after their big fight, Alex still kept coming back for more. And I won't tell you how, but the two of them working together finally helped to save her business. They got her glorious moment to tell Paul to basically shove it, and they all lived happily ever after. Well, to me, Everything Puppies was a cute filler movie. There was nothing magical about it. You know, it wasn't really even a love story. Their romance was way at the bottom of their list of priorities in this one. None of these characters were really to be taken seriously. And once I came to that realization, I found there to be an element of fun in it. Fun of making fun of it, but hey, that's what a spoof is. And if I'm wrong and this was actually made to be a serious Hallmark rom-com, well, then I just had a whole lot of fun making fun of how bad it was. But either way, I halfway enjoyed it. So I think I'll go right down the middle and give this 2.5 out of 5. It would have only been a 1 if it weren't for the occasional cute puppy scenes and the level of comedy I found once I stopped taking it seriously. So how about you? What did you think of Everything Puppies? While the IMDb ratings are not good, they are a little bit better than they have been for the last few weeks anyway. Just not by much. Well, that was more fun than I thought it would be. Coming up next week is a sequel to Big Sky River called The Bridle Path, starring When Calls the Heart's Kevin Smith. And then it will be June. Can you believe that? June starts off a new theme they're calling Passport to Love, not to be confused with the movie of the same name that Great American Family put out back in February. The first premiere to launch in June is called For Love and Honey, and it stars one of my favorites, Andrew Walker. As always, thank you so much for being a part of the Magical Movie Club. If you like this too and want to see more, please let me know by hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, consider following us on Instagram at Magical Movie Club and on Twitter at Magical Movie Club with no U in club. You can find those links below in the description, as well as links to the preview and the movie page for Everything Puppies at Hallmark.com. I'll be back next week to chat more about our favorite magical movies.
Well, it's good to see you, as always.